welcome back to Pink Turtle Soaps. The day that this video is uploaded will be my 27th birthday, so I wanted to do a cake soap, and in fact I'm doing my favorite cake, which is red velvet. Unfortunately, the fragrance oil that I'm using, although it smells delicious, it smells just like a red velvet cake and definitely worth using, it does discolor. It changes to a medium shade of brown. So even though I will be using red mica with this, it's still, at the end of the cure time, going to be more like a reddish brown color. But like I said, it's definitely worth using, even with the discoloration that it causes. It smells so good. I've already added the lye water to my oils here, so I can hop right into the first step of the soap. So to begin, I'm going to split off this big container into these two smaller ones here. Doesn't have to be completely even, but I'm going to try my best just to make it pretty close. Okay, so I have these about even, and between the two, I'm going to split off just a little bit more soap into a smaller container here. Like I said, just a little bit. The smaller container I will use for that middle layer, that cream cheese layer that you typically see with a red velvet cake. So I'm going to set this container off to the side, I'm going to set this one off to the side, and we're just going to work with this one. Alright, so now I'm going to add the red colorant, which I'm using really red mica from Nurture Soap. I'm going to add quite a bit because I really want it to withstand that discoloration. There's not much that I can do without using a vanilla stabilizer to combat the discoloration. So I've added quite a bit of that red mica, hoping that it'll show up once the soap discolors. I'm going to go ahead and give this a blend really quick. Alright, so I actually went ahead and used the stick blender to mix in the fragrance oil because I do want this to thicken up rather quickly so that that bottom layer will go ahead and support the next, and I don't have to wait too long. So here we go. Just pouring that in, and it smells so good. And it looks like red velvet cake batter, does it not? I think so. I'm going to pat this down while it's still liquid. I wouldn't really call it liquid. While it's still soft enough to mold and move around, I'm going to push it into all these corners. If you wait too long, it becomes like Play-Doh consistency, and that's just too thick for what I'm wanting to try as far as the design goes. So it's all about finding that happy medium if you're wanting your soap to be thick, but also still soft enough that you can move it around, sculpt it how you like. So I'm just going to scrape out this container and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so now it's time for this small container. I'm going to add some titanium dioxide to this one because I do want it to stay fairly white. With it being sandwiched between the two layers that will have fragrance in it, sometimes discoloration can transfer. Even though this won't have much or won't have any scent in it, it may still turn a tiny bit brown, but hopefully I've added enough titanium dioxide that that won't be noticeable at all. And yes, I know I didn't clean off my stick blender all the way, and I did that on purpose because I thought it would look really cool if there were some reddish brown speckles inside this part, this like middle layer. I'm going to do my best to mix this up really quick with the stick blender. You may also hear my daughter crying. She's 2 weeks old now, and I promise you she is just fine. She is in the living room being tended to. So now I know that that bottom layer is thick enough for this tiny amount of soap. So I'm just going to pour across. That way I know that it gets all the way across the loaf, because this is going to be a very thin layer. I was hoping that I could get this soap done before she woke up. Oh man. Okay, so I'm going to scoop that off to the side so that that white layer can be setting up. And the next step, I'm just going to repeat that very first layer. You've seen it before, so I'm just going to go ahead and speed this process up for you guys. so I'm going to set this off to the side, let it set up. I'm going to go feed my baby, and when I come back, I'll start on the piping. I'm back, and I'm about to start the piping, but before I do, normally I put some sort of embed on top if I'm doing a piped soap, but this one's not going to have an embed, but it's going to be two-tone piping. I've only done this one other time with the egg hunt soap. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it I'll put the little eye in the corner. You can head over and watch that. But for the piping, I'm going to do red and white. So I'm super excited to see how those two colors go together. Alright, so I brought you in for a little bit of a closer look. Hopefully you can see that a little bit better. I did decide last minute to add a little bit of biodegradable glitter just because I felt like it needed just a little bit more. But I'm really excited to see how the red and white look once I cut it into individual bars tomorrow. I'm going to spray this down with rubbing alcohol just to help prevent soda ash. And I'm going to let it set for about 24 hours and we'll be able to look and see how that piping looks. Alright, so I'm back to cut up this soap, and it's raining very loud outside, so you may hear that rain. The camera may be picking that up. Just try to ignore it. I did go ahead and cut off a few bars just to see if there was any discoloration starting to happen, and it doesn't appear so, but that will happen in the next few days most likely. If you want to follow along the discoloration process, you can. Just follow me on Instagram at pinkturtlesoaps. That is where I update everyone about any soaps that I make. If I make anything that's going to discolor or change along the curing process, that is where I post updates and photos. So just head over there and follow Pink Turtle Soaps on Instagram. Go ahead and cut off a bar for you guys. It smells so good. I'm definitely picking up the cream cheese in the fragrance. It smells so good. And that's what it looks like on the inside. You can barely see around the edge. If you squint hard enough, you can see it starting to turn a little bit darker. I don't know if you can tell on the camera. It is starting to turn a tiny bit darker, but like I said, it may go more brown at the end of the cure process, and that's just because of the fragrance oil. There's really no way around it unless I used a vanilla stabilizer, which I did not, so it will discolor. And then the piping in the white, that looks really neat. I was hoping that they wouldn't mix too much and make like a pink color, but you can really distinguish the difference between the white and the red, so came out perfect. And then just the tiniest little bit of glitter. I usually don't put glitter on my soaps that smell like food, but for some reason this one was just asking to be glittered, so I added some glitter to it. Go ahead and cut off another one. Though I did try my best to even out that middle layer. Some of the soaps, it is a little bit bumpy. It's not completely flat, but I still think it looks pretty neat. Let's go ahead and cut up the rest of this loaf. If you'd like to grab yourself a bar, these will be available at pinkturtlesoaps.com July 1st at 8 a.m. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and leave me a comment. I like talking to you guys. Be sure to subscribe to the channel as well because I upload every single Wednesday. Except for today, which ended up being Thursday. I'm so sorry, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.